Alright, man, it's time to discuss the main event of Sunday night. The game everybody was waiting for, Chiefs Bengals. All the trash talking. The Cincinnati's mayor wanted to chime in of how he felt. Talk about Patrick Mahomes need to get a DNA test to see if Joe Burrow's his dad. It's his daddy. Let's say how he said it. It's his daddy. Burrowhead Arena, as they like to call themselves. And it was starting to look like that, man. I mean, you the best quarterback in the game and everything, and you lose to this guy three games in a row, 3-0. One was an AFC Championship game. It sure did look like that, but Chiefs had something to say about that, man. Chiefs came to play, but so did the Bengals, man. The Bengals can play as well, man. I can't discredit what the Bengals was doing. You know what I mean? Both defense was playing pretty well, especially to have. I feel like they played pretty well because of how, like, both teams couldn't really score as much as I would think they would be able to score. Both teams. You know what I mean? Patrick Mahomes couldn't get off the way I'm used to seeing Patrick Mahomes get off. I mean, he got off. Don't get me wrong. He got off, but it was like I expected a little bit more. Like in a game like this, Patrick Mahomes, a person like Patrick Mahomes would get like 4 touchdown passes. Like, imagine like Tom Brady in his prime in a game like this, or Aaron Rodgers in his prime in a game like this, or Peyton Manning in his prime in a game like this. We're looking at 4 touchdowns, man. We're looking at 3 or 4 touchdowns easily. You know what I mean? 3 or 4 touchdowns easily. You know, and they couldn't get off. They couldn't get off. They couldn't get off. No rushing touchdowns. Every score they got came from the hands of Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? The only person who can get off, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I know I'm going to butcher it. MVS. I guess I'll try. Marquise Valdez Scantling. Hopefully I did not butcher his name, but MVS. He got off. 116 yards for a touchdown. He got off. You know what I'm saying? Travis Kelce for a tight end. I guess he got off for a tight end. 78 yards and a touchdown. And that's about it. You know, I thought Jerick McKinnon would have a bigger game than he had. Nope. You know, I thought Isaiah Pacheco would have a bigger rushing game than he had. Nope. You know, I thought Patrick Mahomes would get a rushing touchdown in this game. Nope. The best thing he got was no interceptions. No interceptions. 326 yards. A good majority of that 326 came from MVS. No interceptions. 2 touchdown passes. To me, a game of this caliber, that means the Bengals was doing something right. And the Chiefs was also doing something right because the Bengals couldn't get off offensively either. At all. Like, at all. Like, their rushing touchdown came from somebody I don't even know who he is at all. Samaji Perrin, I think that's how you say his name. If you're gonna get a rushing touchdown in this game, I expected to come from Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon only had 19 yards. He couldn't get off. Joe Burrow had 270 with a touchdown, but he had 2 interceptions. And he got sacked 5 times. And I feel so bad for him so much. Because this O-line is so bad. They're going to hurt this guy. And he does not complain. And it's getting to the point now, 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row now. Last year, he got sacked 9 times in a playoff game. This year, in the biggest game of his career, second, I get the Super Bowl. And the second biggest game of his career, he gets sacked 5 times. Like, man, he needs to say something now. It's getting to that point. He's getting praised for keeping to himself, not saying anything, not complaining, not being like Tom Brady with his O-line wasn't doing so well. Or you know what I mean? Not bringing like Aaron Rodgers where he was throwing his teammates under the bus. He's getting praised for like, okay, he's taking his hits, he's tough. Nah, man, it's 2 years in a row now, man. It's getting to a point now where he needs to say something. Contract year's coming up for him. If it is, he needs to say something. Like, look, fix the old line, or I'm going to another team. Cause you're not gonna keep doing this. You're not gonna shorten my career, and I'm gonna lose big games in the future because you got a bunch of 300-pound men that can't protect me. Like, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting sad. It's like it's hard to watch. 2 interceptions, probably because he didn't have the time to really get set of what the play is going to be, what kind of pass he's going to throw. He just throwing it out there. Bam, KC takes it from him. 26 out of 41 passes. Those 15 misses was probably him trying to get the ball out his hands real fast. Those 15 passes is probably the reason why instead of 9 sacks, 10 sacks, 11 sacks, it's only 5 sacks because of those five misses, those 5 incompletes. But those 2 interceptions probably came from him just trying to get the ball out of his hands, and yet the score was still really, really close. And they outscored KC in that fourth quarter. They outscored KC in that fourth quarter. Outscored them. So the defense was trying to do their part. The playmakers for Cincinnati was trying to do their part. Jamar Chase was having a pedestrian game with 75 yards. Okay, cool. You got T. Higgins, 83 yards and a touchdown. Bam. He came up trying to do his part. Tyler Boyd put up 40 yards. He came up trying to do his part. Joe Mixon, 19 yards. Not much you could do, especially when you're coming from behind. But he did have 8 carries, so he could have got a bigger game than that. But you got Perrin, I guess I'm saying his name right, who coming up with a touchdown. So they got players on this team that was trying to do their part. The kicker, make it all his kicks again. Make it all of his kicks, both kicks again. Putting up points with his leg. You know what I mean? Cincinnati's trying so hard. It's that old line. If that old line was better, Joe Burrow would not be throwing 2 interceptions and 41 passes. I don't believe that at all. I think he would have been more stable. He would have been more like he could concentrate on what play he's going to throw. If he doesn't have it, he would have rushed the ball and got more than 30 yards rushing. If he don't have it at that moment, he would have had the time to figure it out or give Jamar Chase a chance to get open, to get more than 75 yards. Instead, he's rushing, he's getting the ball out of his hands. He had 15 incompletions, 2 interceptions. That is not Joe Burrow's game. I'm not gonna blame this game on Joe Burrow at all. At all. Then you got the people saying, "Oh, the refs help the Chiefs." Okay. That unnecessary roughness pass. Could have been avoided from the refs. Yeah, the refs could have picked up the flag. Did Patrick Mahomes sell it a little bit acting job, flaring his arms in the air, like he's in big trouble, like he got badly hurt or something. Yeah, okay, he exaggerated it a little bit. Yeah, sure, as he's supposed to. He's supposed to sell it. He's supposed to try to get the call. At the same time, man, you can't throw the quarterback. You can't throw the quarterback out of bounds like that, man. I mean, I'm sorry, man. You can't do that, man. You can't throw him in the like to the wall like that. He got thrown. The tackle could have been avoided. He got thrown. Okay, you understand who you're going against right now. You're going against the top quarterback in the league. that's already on one leg. Of course, the rest is going to protect him, and you know that. At least you should know that. So yeah, he got protected a little bit, as a lot of quarterbacks in that situation would. If Joe Burrow gets a Super Bowl ring, if he got a Super Bowl ring this year, next year, he would got protected like that. Okay, he's the number one quarterback in the league right now, and he's on one leg. And your defender basically threw him to the wall out of bounds. Yeah, you going that's a flag. Did Patrick over exaggerated? Yes. Could the rest have been avoided? Yes. If that was another quarterback, would it have been avoided? Most likely. But you can't say the refs helped the Chiefs. Okay, the refs did not help the Chiefs. Okay, you know what helped the Chiefs? That horrible offensive lineman of that's supposed to be there to protect Joe Burrow. They helped the Chiefs. Joe, it's getting to the point where now it's time for you to say something. You are a superstar in this game now, and you're not being protected, and it's time for you to start throwing your weight around a little bit. Let them know. Be like, hey, maybe I won't re-sign back with y'all when my contract is up. Maybe I go play with somewhere else with a general manager that knows how to put a team together. Because you're not being protected, and it's starting to look sad. It's starting to look ridiculous. So I don't know what, man. I don't know. Ooh. But let's go with the positive. Patrick Mahomes finally got that win against Joe Burrow, 23-20, with the the unnecessary roughness call that got them in field goal range. 45-yard field goal got them the game. Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. Another tight game against a Joe Burrow Bengals team. Another tight game that could have went anyway. Could have went either way. Another one. Took a 45-yard kick to get this team. It took a 15-yard penalty and a 45-yard kick to get this team to the Super Bowl. Congratulations, Kansas City Chiefs. You're going back to the Super Bowl. Oof. What a game. What a game. I don't hear nothing about no refs. I don't hear nothing about they wanted the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. If anything, you'll want the Bengals in the Super Bowl because of the type of fan base that the Bengals was getting. Not had nothing to do with that, man. Those are excuses to me. Fist the O line. Fist the O line. And Joe, if they're not trying to fish that O line, it's time for you to go, man. Super Bowl 57 is set now. Chiefs Eagles. How y'all feel about this game? Here's how I feel about this game. This is the best matchup that the postseason could give us. I thought the Niners would be in there with the Chiefs. I'm actually happy the Eagles is there with them. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to have that type of game in the Super Bowl. I think he's going to have a MVP caliber type of game. I think he's going to get one in the air or a couple in the air, one on the ground. I think he's going to throw for over 200 passing yards and probably rush for about 60 or 70 yards. 60 or 70 yards. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to put up 3 touchdowns, about 300 yards passing. Maybe one on the ground. Maybe. I think it's going to be a great game. And this is a game with the Chiefs above average defense against the Eagles top 3 defense in the league. Top 3 defense in the league. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be magnificent. I think it's going to be a really good game, and I would not be surprised if the Eagles win this game. I would not be surprised at all. I'm gonna go ahead and say the Chiefs will get this. I'm gonna go ahead and stay with my pick. They was my pick from the beginning of the postseason. I didn't make a pick in the beginning of the season, but I was looking at the Chiefs as being being one of those teams that